It's funny you say that because that's actually a true story. I can't tell you where it was at or what year it was, but I'm sitting in my mom's two-seater Austin Healey with my older brother. We're little kids, so we're sitting riding passenger, and my dad goes in the store to go get something, and I saw the shifter, and I just started pulling on it, and we rolled down the road, and I was like, you know what? After I'm done getting in trouble, this might be my future.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters on That podcast. I'm your host, Brian, and today I welcome a very special guest. We got Chris Lafferty. How you doing today, brother?
Dude, man, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on your show, man. I mean, I definitely dig it. Just hanging out, getting some work done,
That's good to hear. And to fill in the audience, he's actually got quite the resume here too. So for the musician side of things, he's actually the front man of the 89 Reasons Band, also former NASCAR driver and also of Lafferty Motorsports. Also did some work as TV show host on ESPN Radio. And this could kind of go on here too, but I think we're going to cover here a good bit. So it's quite the resume you got.
Yeah, man. It really just comes down to I'm just a big kid avoiding getting a real job. That's really all it comes down to. So it's not very impressive when you figure out that I've just been avoiding a real job.
Well, you could say you entered the entrepreneurship since you went into Lafferty Motorsports. I know, I was reading Wikipedia, so that was kind of my note little taken there too. So probably not the best source of info as your English teachers would teach you, but hey, gave me some notes.
Yeah. You know what, man? I really should update all that because it's just accurate enough to get people scratching their head going, man, is this made up or is this real? So hopefully during this interview, we'll clarify some things, answer some questions, and have an overall good time,
Oh, we will. And actually, to kick it off here too, what's this I hear about you opening for Jackal, Jesse and the boys?
Yeah, you know what? Pretty excited about that. So that's our latest announcement is April 10th at Amos South End in Charlotte, North Carolina. Jesse James Dupree and the guys from Jackal are going to be, kicking butt there, and we're just lucky enough to be their opening act. So I'm definitely grateful to Jesse for allowing me and my guys to do this. And you may have saw that. We're actually listed. The band name for us is now listed as Chris Lafferty Music. And we kind of left the 89 Reasons brand a little behind, partly because, it's just one more layer to figure out that it was me. And look, I'm getting a little bit older too, and so it's like, it's one of those scenarios where, kind of our genre, which blends from to some country feel, I think that we can get a little more traction, as a solo artist, even though my band guys are essentially the same guys that ran under the 89 Reasons heading. So it's just a rebranding.
I was going to ask about the 89 Reasons because I think the joke is we could go into a 69 Reasons, but I think people would have accepted that was a joke.
Yeah, well, you know what? I came up with 89 Reasons. When I was in racing, I drove the number 89 NASCAR truck. And so when I first got into NASCAR and started my own team, NASCAR assigned me the number 89. And dude, I absolutely hated it. It was not the number I wanted. I wanted the 98. And so they assigned me that. And it's funny the way it worked out, because when you go to start a team, NASCAR asks you, they say, hey, give us 3 choices on the number that you would like to have. And I picked 98, 98, and 98. So I thought, dude, this is a shoe-in. I'm gonna get the number 98 in the Truck Series, and it just happened to be the same year Ray Evernham started his team, and he got the 98. So NASCAR just figured I like the 8 and the 9 so much that they gave me the 89. And ultimately, after years and years of struggling and hustling, the number 89 now began to mean like this. It was a symbol of hustle for me. So my band name, 89 Reasons, 89 is the reason that I hustle. That's kind of the number for me that becomes what it took for me to make it in life and in racing.
Well, that explains a lot. Actually, it also explains too how you also choose the numbers, because I wasn't sure if it was one of those like, hey coach, I want to pick this number for my jersey, that sort of deal, or whether it was like just random, just should be like, here's your number, take it or leave it, that whole deal.
Well, and ultimately it is that, NASCAR, they give you the it's like, hey, if you had a choice, what would you choose? And then at the end of the day, you get what you get if your choice is not available. So it really worked out. And over the years, 89 now has really became a number to me that, like I said a second ago, it's synonymous with hustling, So everybody has their own 89 reasons, and that's the 89 reasons is what drives you to become something,
Fair enough. So at least it all worked out in the end there too. So that's good. So I guess we're going to jump into some of the questions right here, but we always need an introduction to kick things off. So Chris, welcome to my podcast here, mate. And the way it's going to work is I just want to ask you some questions, get to know you more, both as the musician, the NASCAR driver as well, but also as the individual as well here too. So you ready?
Man, far away.
All right. So start back at the beginning when he was just a wee lad. So I guess you could also clarify some stuff, because obviously Wikipedia is not a good source, and I guess we need to update at some point. But tell the audience, who are you, and how did you become the musician first?
Well, let me start by saying, Wikipedia, about a year ago, somebody hijacked my page, and I'm not sure if it was a good friend playing a joke or somebody that just didn't like me. And it came up with some really funny stuff. And it was funny. I'll tell you exactly what it is here on your podcast. I'll tell you later. But we got it back and changed it back to a little more accurate. But, for me growing up, I got to give the credit to my parents. So growing up, my mom was a huge lover of music, not a musician, but very into music. And so she opened my door to great music of the 80s, and then of course into the 90s. And then my dad was we grew up without money, so my dad worked on our own cars, and so by default I was his sidekick, helping him fix our family cars and stuff of that nature. And so my two passions in life, I give the credit to my parents for that.
I guess, did your parents kind of push you in the direction of playing an instrument during like the elementary, middle, and high school years?
So my parents never played instruments at all. But growing up, when I was in elementary school, I played the trumpet for a few years, which has no relevance to what I do now. And now we do not have a trumpet player in the band, and I do not play trumpet either. So it's just, we evolved.
So I guess kind of still sticking on that topic with the whole thing with playing trumpet and all that stuff there too. I guess, when did you start getting involved in any sort of bands? Did that come a little bit later during your NASCAR years?
Yeah, you know what? So during my NASCAR years, now let me back up. I've always been into music, always loved, good music, and it's always been a part of my life. But yeah, it took getting into the NASCAR years in order for me to really take the leap of faith. And mostly it started out singing karaoke and stuff of that nature. And my motivation was purely to make my public speaking ability better. If you're on stage in any capacity, it's going to make you a better public speaker. And so that was the motivation. And then I started taking my band to NASCAR races. I mean, we perform at different racetracks, with the different festivities and stuff like that. And it just took its legs, and different opportunities came.
So I guess this lineup you currently have, has this been the same lineup you've had for a good while, or I guess what's the history with 89 Reasons?
Yeah, so my lead guitarist Jeff, who he's just an absolute monster on guitar. He's been with me over a decade, and so he was there since the very beginnings. And my bass player Paul and drummer Serge, they've been with me for a couple of years now. And early on, it was kind of hit or miss on what we were doing. Whereas the current lineup now that we've been with for a couple of years, now we're getting our feet underneath us. We're getting good tours with reputable people and have some really cool bands that we've opened and played with. And so it's this stage of my life is pretty exciting because it's a different kind of Daytona getting on stage.
That's for sure. And I guess we're going to jump into NASCAR. So, because it seems like it was almost like a brief period and then got to the band. So, I guess what really motivated you to become a NASCAR driver, I should say?
Well, you know what? So growing up, I grew up in Northern California, and my crossroads in life, I either wanted to move to Hollywood to be an actor, or I wanted to move to North Carolina to be a NASCAR engine builder. I didn't think that driving race cars was going to be my future because I didn't grow up with a wealthy family. So, we didn't have tons of money to throw at being a NASCAR star. So I flipped a coin. I moved to North Carolina shortly out of high school and chased the dream. And so what a lot of people don't know is by trade, I'm a NASCAR engine builder by trade. There's not an engine machine shop piece of equipment that I can't run, from spintrons to CNC machines, boring bars. And, so I really, most of the guys really know me in NASCAR as an engine builder. Then I started my NASCAR team and then naturally took over the helm. And I was like, you know what? I can wreck a race car just as good as anybody. So put the helmet on, and the rest is history. We were fortunate enough to have about 20 years of NASCAR experience before I took a step back to chase the music full time.
Actually, I wasn't sure if it was like one of those youngster moments where you actually put the car in drive and it's going down the hill, that sort of deal. So.
Well, that actually really, it's funny you say that because that's actually a true story. I can't tell you where it was at or what year it was, but I'm sitting in my mom's two-seater Austin Healey with my older brother. We're little kids, so we're sitting riding passenger, and my dad goes in the store to go get something, and I saw the shifter, and I just started pulling on it, and we rolled down the road, and I was like, you know what? After I'm done getting in trouble, this might be my future.
Oh my God. I was going to say, don't tell me your dad got the belt out.
Man, I grew up with the belt, and it was, I jokingly say this, but it felt like every day at 5:05 p.m., Dad would get home, and me and my older brother, we messed up something during the day, and it was time to go to the bedroom and get a spanking, So yeah, I mean, I spent more time than I can count with my ass on fire.
You could almost say you and your brother were almost like the Calvin and Hobbes, almost like doing a nice little comic strip at this point. So.
Dude, at some point I'm going to write a book, and it's like sometimes I feel like the Forrest Gump of NASCAR or music, because it's like, man, I've got to do some cool stuff. And growing up, we did some cool stuff that ultimately often ended up with me and my brother getting spanked.
Actually, it would have to be the run, Forrest, run sort of moments right there too. But I guess so. Still a great movie to this day there too. So gotta love it. So
yeah, man.
So let's see. Still stick with the NASCAR here. I guess what's it like actually riding in a NASCAR here too? Because I've seen it a couple times on TV, but I'm sometimes like seeing more of the highlights when Sports Center comes up and they'll show people maybe karate kicking or doing like the full 2-footer through the window of another guy's car or something.
Yeah. So here's the thing. TV does not do this sport justice. The TV coverage is so good. It makes everything look slow and easy. And in reality, what I tell people, you've got the most physically demanding environment. It's summertime. It's 130 degrees in the race car, and you're in it for 3 hours. So it's like fighting Mike Tyson in his prime, but also the mental aspect of feeling what the race car is doing, calculating what other drivers are doing. It's like playing a championship level chess match. So it's like you're in the ring with Mike Tyson, trying not to get knocked out while playing a championship chess match. And it is unbelievable, the physical and mentally demanding lifestyle that it is. And look, I'm going to tell you this. I came into the sport with limited mental capabilities. So when you tax my mental side, man, it was tough. It was very tough to concentrate like that.
I'm going to say you still remember your first race? I guess when you're out of it, where you're like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? Was it sort of like that sort of moment?
Yeah. You feel like you're in way over your head, as it relates to when I made it to the NASCAR truck level. That's the highest of the 3 tiers of NASCAR racing, nationally televised, biggest names in the business. And I'm climbing down into this race car going, dude, what the hell am I doing? I am so far over my head. The whole fake it till you make it. I'm like, look, either I'm going to do halfway decent, or I'm going to embarrass myself so bad that they ask me not to come back. And it worked out. I mean, it's one of those things that I'll tell you this. My whole career, you look at the resume, TV, radio, racing, music. I'm not qualified to do one damn thing on my resume. It was just one of those things where I was like, man, I kicked open a door and I was like, all right, we're going to walk through it. And it's sink or swim, man.
Or I guess luck of the draw, if you wanted to say along those lines. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, it's when preparation meets opportunity. But the problem is this: it's like getting into a fight for the first time. Like, you can practice all you want, but until you get punched in the nose, like, you have no clue what you're getting yourself into. So it was very eye-opening. But man, I'm going to tell you, I'm so appreciative for the things that I've gotten to do. I mean, it's pretty cool. So I have no complaints.
I was saying, did you ever get in any fights? I guess because sometimes I hate to keep going back to the Sports Center because I know you say it doesn't do it justice, but they'll sometimes show like those scuffles or you're like the pit crews kind of get into it. I guess, did you ever get into any?
Well, growing up at the racetrack, got into a few little scuffles here and there. But on the main stage, I think a lot of it is, the people in NASCAR, they know who their competitors are. So they know who the rich kids are, and they know who the guys are who started with nothing, and that was me. I moved to North Carolina homeless and without a job. And so when you walk in with that resume and then make it to that level, they assume that you will beat wholesale ass to protect your livelihood. And you know, I've been able to talk my way through most every conflict because it's race cars. We're not curing cancer there, so it's like, I mean, I don't want to crash, I don't want to cause trouble, but it is, we can talk through it until somebody gets hands on. And growing up, that was kind of the line in the sand. Hands on changes everything, and luckily, I think I garnered enough respect from the veterans and the young guys to know that hey, old Chris Lafferty started with nothing and fought his way to get here, and will fight to stay here. So I didn't have to cross that bridge.
I guess we could say thank God for that. So yeah, that's good. So,
yeah, because let me tell you this, man. So we grew up fighting, but having an older brother, I can tell you this: I can take a hell of a punch, but I'm not a good fighter. So it was mostly a bluff game of them thinking that I was super tough, because it wasn't. I'm a nice guy.
Or could have this the whole time. Like,
all right. Well, so I don't fight like that, but it's not much better than that.
Actually, no, I was thinking more like, you saw the cartoons. Actually, one that comes to mind was called Ed, Ed, and Eddie. It was like two characters. Yeah. They're like trying to fight each other. All they do is like something like cat fight, almost like just claw each other, that sort of stuff.
Right. Yeah. You know what? If I'm going to fight, I start thinking about, if this is going to make a highlight reel, then I can't be fighting like it's a cat fight, So it's, you got to throw some haymakers, make it look good. And you're either going to be the fly or the windshield. So it's, you kind of see how it goes.
In which case it's a hold my beer moment. So yeah. Let's see why.
Absolutely.
Actually, you did the Daytona and Indy, right? I guess. So what are those like?
Yeah, so Daytona, again, on TV, you look at it. Any NASCAR fan knows you get on the track, you hold it wide open, and you just ride around is what they think. But the thing is the first lap around Daytona, I don't care who you are, your first lap around Daytona, I have never seen a rookie take his first lap and have the balls to hold it wide open. And it's because you drive down this backstretch and you're feeling good. You're wide open, going through the gears, and you're like, oh man, this is great. Going down the backstretch, you see turn 3, it looks like a damn brick wall. And you're like, holy crap, there is no way a race car is going to stick. And so, I mean, it's overwhelming until you get comfortable with it, So it's a different world for sure.
Actually, it's fun. Like, it's the Indy, right? Where they have like the little bricks, and I guess the guys who win it, they kiss it. It's the whole tradition, I guess.
Yeah. So you know what? I'll say one of the tracks that I did not get to race on was the Brickyard in Indy. I raced at Indianapolis, but it was a smaller track. It has incredible history for NASCAR and other ranks in racing. But man, that's the one place, the Brickyard at Indianapolis, I actually never got to race there, and so that's one of those things that's an iconic racetrack that maybe in another life, or maybe an opportunity will come up before I'm fully retired to go do it. So who knows? We'll see.
Be reincarnated, or maybe at some point. But we can probably make it work at some point. So,
yeah, man, it's if I never get to race there, I still wasn't cheated. If the opportunity comes, then man, I'll take it. We'll see what happens. But ultimately, the next phase in my career is, it's like building the music act to where we're a desired act. And then booking some NASCAR races so that I can go back NASCAR racing while performing on stage, legitimately. And I mean, me and Marty Robbins, that Marty Robbins is really the only guy who's had a successful NASCAR racing career as well as a successful career as a musician. So it's I still have that in my sights. So when you say, which I advertise, I'm a retired race car driver. You said it yourself. But between me, you, and all your listeners and viewers, I'm not fully retired until I take my last breath,
I'll be a damn NASCAR driver till they pry my cold dead hands off this goddamn wheel. So
that's it, man. That is it.
Yeah.
So,
that'll deal. All right. Well, wish you good luck there, mate. Hopefully one day we get you on the Indy there or the Daytona as well. So
yeah, man, absolutely.
I guess it kind of does lead to more of Lafferty Motorsports. So I guess go ahead, tell the audience about like the whole history about that, and I guess what are you doing nowadays? Because it seems like you're trying to mold music and the whole race car deal together there too. So go ahead.
Yeah, so Lafferty Motorsports started out in 2002, technically. Started out as an engine shop and just evolved into motorsports racing at several different levels. We got to where we were racing 4 different series in 3 different states on the same night. And so, we had some momentum, in-house engine building, CNC program, top-notch drivers, including myself. And, it just got to the point where I just felt like I was on the hamster wheel. And if you had $1 million, you needed 1.2. If you had $2 million, you needed 2.2. And there was no end in sight. And me and my dear friend Sam Bass, who's a huge NASCAR figure, we'd sit and talk about music. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck this racing, man. I want to get on a bus and go play some shows and just enjoy life, And I enjoyed racing, but it just became a job. And so I had to step away. And I took my band on tour and enjoyed it. But the downside is, for an up and coming band like mine was, the money just isn't there. So I ended up investing in tour buses. And so my biggest business right now is me and my daughter own 12 tour buses, and our clients are rock stars. So when they book tours, I get a phone call and we provide them with a tour bus, a driver, trailer, and take care of their logistics. And ultimately, this is my cheat code for getting to be able to tour and open for, some really awesome names in music, And so here we are pursuing that, and so I've been pretty fortunate.
You guys did you know Jesse Dupree for a good while from Jackal? Or I guess did you guys just kind of recently meet and just want to call it a little tour? I guess I'm not too sure if it's like that or not.
You know what? So my deal with Jesse is, a year or two ago, he reached out to me out of the blue. My phone rang and he says, "Hey man, I'm Jesse James Dupree and I need a bus." And I went, "Hell yeah, man, we can help you out with that." And just kind of stayed in contact. And Jesse and his guys, the Jackal guys, the Full Throttle Saloon business that he's got, he's a hell of an entrepreneur and just a really, really good guy. And you got to keep guys like that close to you. And earlier this year, the end of last year, I reached out to him and I was like, "Hey man, dude, I need to go play some shows." And, you talk about a guy that was really welcomed me and my guys with open arms. And he was like, "Look, let's do the first one at Charlotte." And, so we're pretty excited about that. And as it turns out, he's got a tour on the West Coast starting in 2 weeks that I'm not on it. I'm not opening any shows, but we're providing him a tour bus for that tour. So it's, man, it's the B2B business opportunities that create the stuff that is the fun side. Getting on stage is fun, but the bus side is the business between us.
That's for sure. And actually, that was the first time I actually heard about Jesse was Full Throttle Saloon when it was, I think it was on True TV way back in the day. And I think the manager's name was Mike. And I think, I think I feel bad because I think the venue they had been working at the whole time had burned down. I don't know if it was faulty wiring or Mother Nature with a lightning strike or something. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I remember that. I did not know Jesse back then, but naturally, being a gearhead, was aware of the show that he had, and it was pretty successful. So again, I circle back to good business with good people. And that's a recipe for success always.
Well, he's always been an interesting character. I would say, I think the funniest is get into a makeshift coffin. I guess it was supposed to explode at some point, and then just comes out unscathed or something.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, as a type of guy that he is, and I am, and people like us, we will do some dumb stuff just to try it out, So just the other day, I looked at my daughter and I held up my 10 fingers and I go, I've done some pretty dumb shit to still have all my fingers. So I'm pretty fortunate there. Yeah. I mean, they're all there,
I mean, hey, you hear some stories, people holding firecrackers in their hand there too, because I guess they had little once-pay shots out of the painting booth, as if you know what I mean. So,
hey, look, man, I have been on fire. I have been, upside down. I have done some shit that has killed mere mortals. And I'm also a mere mortal, but for some reason, God takes care of the handicapped, I guess. I don't know, so I'm here and I still have all my fingers and toes. So I'll take it.
were those like related to NASCAR or any sort of stage stunts you were trying to do, or what was going on there? Because you think of getting light on fire, it's almost like, what are you doing, man? So,
well, getting set on fire was an accident. Although when I had my TV show, we had written a script where I actually set myself on fire, and we never got to film that episode. So it might have been that the higher power was looking out for me at the time, but that is still something that I do want to do.
you say he got bitch slapped by God for actually doing something stupid or something.
You know what? Oftentimes when something doesn't go as I think it should, I stop and I go, you know what? God or whoever you believe in was protecting me from my own stupidity, and look, I come with no talent, but a fucking gang ton of stupidity.
Hey, this just shows you still got the kid in you there too. I didn't mention that earlier. You're still a kid at heart. So
That's right.
yeah. I do have to ask though, and sorry to kind of switch more to a serious topic, but how bad was COVID for you on a personal level, family wise, and kind of the business and music wise?
So during COVID, the entertainment industry was the first to shut down and the last to start back up. The only saving grace was at the time I was touring with a band called Saliva, and they're hellraisers, and would break the law. So we were playing shows, we were touring, we're doing weekend stuff in the states that were not shut down, and luckily I had the opportunity to go spend some time in Alaska playing shows and fishing, and which I'm not a fisherman, but if you go to Alaska and they hand you a fishing pole, I think it's illegal not to go fishing. So, it was very damaging. We lost a lot of business, which, turns into a lot of potential money, but it is what it is. I mean, the milk spilt. The lucky thing for us is we were in a financially good place. And so even though we essentially shut down for, year and a half, 2 years, whatever it was, we were able to survive. And we weren't as hurt as much as a lot of other people, because there's a lot of other entertainers that don't have another business except touring. And, I've been fortunate to squirrel a little bread and peanut butter away and be able to survive during the worst. Us cockroaches are going to last forever no matter what. So it was pretty good. It wasn't as bad as it could have been for me, at least.
I don't know. You keep thinking about the whole toilet paper apocalypse, if we want to say it that way, with losing Charmin, all those guys, or at least a little bit. So
yeah, man, it was terrible, man. I mean, I don't want to get into the political side of it, but to me, the whole thing was handled wrong. It was handled by amateurs. It became a huge money grab, and I just it hurt a lot of people, and that part I'm not happy about.
yeah, I can agree. But I would say the best thing was being able to work from home, because at the time I was working in banking. So it was the first time working from home. So it worked out for me. I was able to take a little nap during lunch break. So.
Right. It's like being an adult and in kindergarten at the same time. It's like, get your work done and then you get to go take a nap instead of have to go take a nap.
We need nap time back. That's what they got to do at the workplaces. They got to bring that stuff back. Be like,
Absolutely.
the kindergarten rule. That's
yeah,
what we need.
Listen, you start the petition and I'll be the first signature on it.
All right, I got to figure out how the fuck I actually do a petition. To be honest, I never did one. I've always sided with, to be honest. So.
Right. Well, we'll figure that. Yeah. If we were adults, we'd know how to do that.
I mean, I'm 30 right now, and I don't know how old you are, but people are assuming we're supposed to be adults now. So,
dude, I'm 48. I'm 47 and 48. I got to do the math. I think I'm 48. Yeah, I'm 48. And I stop and I go, oh shit, dude. I'm old, man, but I still wake up. I act like an idiot every day. I do as much as I can to fuck off. And so, I mean, I'm not cheated. Life has not cheated me at all.
That's very good here. So let's keep that kick going strong. And on a serious note, good to see you and the family are doing well there, as well as people in the business. So
yeah, absolutely, man.
Keep going strong, Chris. So, sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, man, I mean, all you can do is sun comes up, get to hustling and, have a good time. I tell people, you got this much time on earth and we don't know how much that is. It's just a length of time. So, it's might as well make the best of it,
Amen to that. So keep going strong.
Absolutely.
I do have to ask. It still kind of sticks with COVID, but it kind of delves more into like the music scene. So, I guess how's the music scene been from your perspective? I guess I don't know if you've kind of toured all over the states or anything, or why do you just stick to home state North Carolina?
No, I've been fortunate enough. Last year, well, I take that back. I guess it was a year before. We're in 26. So, I got a great opportunity in 24 to go on a month-long tour as direct support for Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Glenn Hughes, who is famously from the band Deep Purple, and then went to Black Sabbath when Ozzy left. And so, we toured from LA to Atlantic City and everywhere in between. And, man, it was when you get to tour with somebody like that, one, you got the rock and roll history, but two, his camp, his management, everybody, they're great guys. They're great guys to work with. And so we had a great time. The crowds were great. The venues were great. The venue owners were great. And so from that standpoint, as a performer, I've been fortunate enough to have some cool opportunities. And then as a logistics, bus company owner, touring with different bands. Same thing, man. I mean, you got to figure this: when you come into town to play, that is the exciting weekend event for people. So it's like they're not coming there in a bad mood. We're not the fucking DMV, dude. We're not the IRS. We're rocking, man. We're like, dude, give me a beer and let me play this guitar. So I mean, it's perfect. It's not a bad deal.
That's good to hear, because in other interviews that I've done with other musicians, it has seemed to be in a little bit of a mixed bag at times, because some people like the Tampa Bay region, they're like saying how there's more tribute and cover bands sort of popping up like here and there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've kind of noticed that too, outside maybe a couple of the originals still playing.
Well, you got to keep in mind it as a economic side of it. Being an original music band, you're either making no money or people know you, and it's a hard life. As a cover tune band, or tribute or a cover tune, you can stay in your city or the surrounding area and do very well. And so, I mean, look, the road is, you're a traveling clown, and ultimately that's not a good lifestyle for most people. So the idea of having a regular day job and then being in a tribute or a cover tune band, dude, that's a perfect life, because you really get the best of both worlds,
That is true. Yeah. You just may have to show practice like the songs. Maybe you have to pay for some of the gear if you don't already have it. So you can see why. So
Yeah. It's just the cost of doing business. I mean, if you've got a passion, whether it's driving race cars or playing music, having the opportunity is, dude, it don't matter if you're playing for your family, a wedding, or on stage in front of a crowd at a venue. It's just the act of doing it.
that's for sure too. So keep going strong. Make us proud there. So
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
but I guess just to kind of fill in the audience about plans for 2026, outside of your little gig with Jesse and Jackville right there, I guess what are you guys going to do afterwards? You going to release any new material, or maybe do some more shows along the East Coast?
Yeah. So, we're going back to the studio. We're going to re-record some old stuff from years ago that never truly got released. And then I've got a lot of new stuff that, the craft of being a songwriter, it evolves. And so that part's exciting. As a competitor, I'm a competitor. So when I write a song and I go, man, I like this. This was a good song. And so we're looking forward to getting to the studio, recording that stuff, releasing that stuff. I know we're going to play some more shows with Jesse and the Jackal guys, and we're working on some other tours. I was fortunate a couple years ago to tour with a band called Dog Star, and the claim to fame is Keanu Reeves is the bass player in Dog Star, and so we got pretty close. I was fortunate enough to open for them as well, and so right now I'm begging them to let me open some shows this year. They just announced their tour this year, and it's between me and you, I think they've got the whole tour locked in with the openers that are under their management. So I don't think there's going to be an opportunity, but rest assured, I'm making the phone calls, and we're working on some tours, to make happen this year.
Let's say Keanu Reeves. Is he still playing with the group, or is he still too busy trying to be John Wick at this point?
No, you know what? So I toured with him for a couple of months, and then he went back home, filmed a movie or two, and then booked more shows with his band. So he's at the age, he broke 60. So he's not a spring chicken, and there's a train going by, so it'll just take a second. So, Keanu's no spring chicken. And, before he became the Keanu that everybody knows, he had his band. And so he's just getting back to that, and trying to make the best of it.
I was like, man, I had no idea he was 60. I was like, he
Yeah.
still looks pretty young, to be honest, but I guess he
Yeah,
really,
absolutely.
he dealt with a
Absolutely.
lot before becoming Neo of the Matrix, that whole deal. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's I'm a huge movie fan myself, and it was definitely an honor to spend a couple months on the bus with him and his guys, and getting to know him, and being a movie nerd, it was pretty cool, and seeing his absolute passion for music, and the fact that he's one of the most authentic guys that I've ever met. That part's pretty cool.
And a man with a heart of gold there, too, especially what they say, some of the charity and some of the other stuff he has done for other individuals. So,
I'm going to tell you
man.
this. I'm going to tell you this. What people know about him in the public does not do justice on the human being that he is, and therefore the people that he keeps around him are also great human beings. Brett the singer and Rob the drummer. They're a three-piece and been friends forever. Just great human beings.
That's for sure. So,
So,
God bless you, Keanu Reeves. Keep us strong. All right. So, I guess moving on now to ESPN Radio. So, I know you had mentioned about Sam earlier here, too. So, I guess let's do a little bit of history. So, how did you and Sam meet? And talk about the show a little bit here, too, because I think Sam, he's no longer with us, is he?
Correct. Sam passed away several years ago, and ironically, before the radio show is the Sam and Chris show, and he and I hosted it together. But we met the very first time. I hosted a TV show on Fox Sports, and was looking for content, and the NASCAR management people put me in touch with Sam. Met him we met over the years at the racetracks, but never really connected. And so when they put us together to do the TV show spot, we spent the day together. Then we just became really good friends. He ended up on 2 or 3 episodes of my TV show, and then he and I pitched the radio show to ESPN, and we're like, look, man, there's tons of idiots on the radio. We can do that too. And there was an opening for 2 idiots with a radio show, and so they let us do the radio show. So it was a pretty cool moment in life, and such an honor to be able to host a show with a guy of that caliber. The artist that Sam was, and to this day is, and his resume. I mean, the guy designed the rainbow DuPont car for Jeff Gordon. I mean, one of the most iconic race cars ever to hit the racetrack, and this man is the guy that designed it. So that part was really cool. Such an honor. It was a blessing to be so close to him. And I'll tell you this: in his passing, the pallbearers at his funeral were 3 of the guys who were in his childhood band, 2 guys from the Gibson Guitar Custom Shop, and myself. I was the only NASCAR guy to carry this man to his final resting spot. And man, you talk about such an honor, because we're only here for a limited time. So, dude, it was such an honor.
Yeah. I guess it would have been nice. Would you guys still have done, I guess, maybe some more radio, maybe not on ESPN? If he was still here, would you guys have maybe done your own podcasts or something?
Yeah, I think ultimately that's where we would have ended up, is moving over to a regular podcast. And in fact, I still have. Originally, the Sam and Chris show started out as a small podcast, and nobody's ever seen those shows. I have them locked away, and went from podcast, became the radio show, and then Sam's health just kept declining, and it just wasn't a viable thing anymore to keep chasing that. And but yeah, I think realistically, if Sam was still around, we'd be doing a podcast from a tour bus on the road somewhere, playing shows and telling stories.
Yeah. Hey, rest in peace there too. So we'll get the hordes right there and the little love right there for Sammy.
Yeah, man. Absolutely, man. Thank you for that, man. Just another great dude. You know what, man? In life, we all meet a lot of shitty people, and then I go through my list of the unicorns that I have met and spent time with, and from Sam to Keanu, some of the other artists, some of the special people in my life. I mean, dude, it's like you get some of these unicorns, and it's like, man, that's what life is all about for sure.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I would say I think I'd see more unicorns than I would see of like the dark horses, or I don't know what sort of term we would use for the people who are shitty people in this case. So
yeah. Well, I'm not a fan of those kind of unicorns.
Fair enough, yeah. So, all right. But I guess going back to the band a little bit here too, I guess what sort of gear have you guys been using for both the live set, and what are you going to be using for this upcoming recording session?
So for our live stuff, so I'll go back to like our big tours. We've got a guitar sponsor, Mariah Guitars, out of Greensboro, North Carolina, provides us with guitars. I mean, dude, you talk about a quality guitar. The things play like butter, and it's a great price point for the consumer. My drummer uses D drums, bass player. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know what kind of bass he plays, but it's one of those things that their rig rundown has me scratch my head, because some of it I don't understand what they're using. But I'll use my Mariah guitar if I'm playing electric guitar. I've got a Dean acoustic guitar when I'm playing acoustic. I run my stuff through a Line 6, just a small digital amp, just for mainly because it's easy to travel with, and then we run our in-ear monitor rig so that we can take care of our own monitors. We don't have to rely on front of house or venue guys to get our sound right every night. And that's we basically can fit all of our stuff. We're an opening band, and so we travel light. We try to be compact, and as much digital that we can run, we're running as much digital as possible.
That's pretty cool. And are you strictly just, I was going to say, are you more of a singer, or have you tried playing guitar or any other instruments with Chris Lafferty band at this point?
Yeah, so there's a couple songs that I play rhythm on, mostly because I want to look cool. And if you're not a guitar player, then you're going to think that I'm a good guitar player. But the only reason I sound good is my band is, dude, I feel like I got the greatest band ever to not be heard of. I mean, these guys are as good as any of the guys that I'm touring with on a regular basis through my bus company. And these guys are just as good, if not better. So I feel like when I get on stage, man, I feel like I'm Jeff Gordon getting in his race car. But yeah, so I do play some guitar. In my songwriting, everything is I'll do most of my songwriting on an acoustic, and so yeah. I mean, it's part of the show, and it's part of the act. And I had the opportunity last year to open a show for the band Three Dog Night. Older guys, been around forever, just iconic band. And I'll tell you this, you look at the resume, right? You go, oh man, NASCAR driver, musician, TV show, radio show. My greatest accomplishment in entertainment was that show, because I had my daughter standing beside me singing backup vocals. And dude, it was the greatest thing. It was just the greatest experience being on the same stage with my daughter, and her first time singing on stage. And dude, she can run circles around me when it comes to singing.
Good girl. So that's all good. So I guess going to 89 band again, or I guess Chris Lafferty. Sorry, it's one or the other
Yeah.
at this point. So, but so when did you switch the name? Was it just more recently?
Yeah, it was about 2 years ago. Actually, I changed to Chris Lafferty Music after. Let me think about this. When we opened for Dogstar, Keanu's band, we were still running the banner 89 Reasons, and then right after that show, I was like, you know what? I think eliminating that layer, creating the tie, because if people look me up, they can see, just like you did, you go, man, this guy's just a big kid. So I think it suits me running under the Chris Lafferty Music banner, because it's easier for people to figure out who I am.
Actually, when I was looking up, it was the 89 Reasons band because I was looking it up on Spotify, and some of the songs I found: Reason One, Monster, We Don't Live, Rockstar, and Take It Back. Can you just talk about the lyrics of those songs? I guess what they sort of delve into.
Yeah, man. Let's start with which one you want to start with.
I guess Reason One because it seemed like it was like a single. It had your NASCAR car truck on it too.
Excellent.
Sorry.
All right, so here's the thing. So I was sitting with the TV show that I hosted was called Chris Lafferty's Motorsports TV. It was on Fox Sports, and I was hunting for a theme song. And I asked one of my buddies, he was a musician. I was like, hey, write a theme song, and we'll use it. Well, he got busy and couldn't do it. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it, I'll do it. So I sat down, I wrote Reason One. And if you listen to the lyrics, it's all about driving a race car. And dude, it's just got a cool vibe to it. It hits, it goes. And so if you look up Chris Lafferty's Motorsports TV, then you'll hear that is a theme song. And I was like, you know what? I'm so fucking redneck that I want to write, produce, host, do the fucking theme song for my own show. And it was like, dude, like there was no ego involved. It was just, man, I was just having so much fun doing it. So that's where Reason One came from. And originally, in the first incarnation of 89 Reasons, we were going to name every song. It was going to start with Reason One, then Reason Two, Reason Three, and all the way up to 89 or however far it would go. But then we realized, man, I'm just too dumb to memorize and not get confused with my own songs. So the Take It Back and We Don't Live originally were Reason Two and Reason Three. And, I'll never forget, me and Jeff were sitting there talking about songs, and he's like, well, is that Reason Two or Three? I go, well, it's two, isn't it? Or is it three? And we were getting so confused that we're like, all right, you know what? This is way too technical for us. So we're going to give these traditional names. And, the song Take It Back, the original inspiration for that song was, another NASCAR driver, Jeremy Mayfield. He had kind of a troublesome past, and got knocked off the mountain and has been fighting his way back. And so that song had some inspiration from that driver. Then it becomes We Don't Live and Monster. Ironically, Monster was the first song that I ever played guitar on stage ever in my career. And it got written because it was four chords and the truth in rock form. And it just served its purpose. It was a short by time frame song, simple for me to play, and help me build my chops. And so it worked out good. And we end our set with that song. And what you see on Spotify is not exactly how we play some of those songs anymore. And so we've kind of revamped them, which is why we're going to go re-record them and get the most current. Once you've toured and played those songs, then it's like they evolve a little bit. So Monster and We Don't Live, you know, two kind of more serious, sadder songs, and rock ballads, and they've definitely got some meaning behind them. But then we get to Rockstar, so Rockstar, I noticed I was writing nothing but sad songs. And I was like, oh shit, I can't, this is like depression. You press play and it's like, dude, I'm depressed now listening to all my music. And so I was like, all right, I got to write a happy, upbeat song. But I had this idea. I was like, my inspiration for music, it travels through time. And so if you listen to that song, it's the first verse is somewhere in the 50s and 60s music wise. Then it evolves to 60s, 70s, 70s, 80s. And if you listen to the lyrics close, all the lyrics mean something to me. So I don't know if you've listened to it close, but in one of the verses, the lyric goes, Charlie Manson was a Beach Boy too. And what a lot of people don't know is the Beach Boys recorded a song written by Charles Manson, which is fucking wild when you get right down to, only the most famous murder killer ever in the Beach Boys, only the most famous West Coast beach band ever is recording one of his songs. So all the lyrics in that song have meaning to me.
So you learned something new whenever you do these podcast interviews here too. I had no idea about that whole thing, Charles Manson and all that stuff. So,
oh, dude, it's fascinating, and it's when you just look at Manson's career musically, you'll see why he picked the house for the Helter Skelter murders, and it's dark, man. It's very dark.
wasted his life doing that sort of deal. I wish he kind of just stuck to the music. That's what you got to do these days. So
Absolutely, yeah. If he'd done less killing and more music, then he probably would have seen less of the inside of a jail cell for his life.
they probably would have branded a little swastika on his forehead there too. So
Yeah, that's a hard one to sell too. So it's he made some poor life choices for sure.
so stay away from the drugs, kiddos. Lesson learned right there too. So
That's exactly right. Stay away. Mr. T said, "Don't do drugs," and I do what Mr. T says.
I don't know. You know what? I keep thinking of Mr. T when he was in the World of Warcraft commercials, be like, so smack and fools be telling Mr. T can't change the World of Warcraft. He ain't no computer hacker. Well, ask me this, suckers. How do you explain the Mohawk grenade? So
Yeah, man. Like you can't, dude. It's Mr. T, man. That's wisdom right there.
absolutely. All right.
I mean, I would pity the fool who messed with him. I mean, that's just, you don't mess with Mr. T.
No, nobody does. The A team. That's the reason. There's no letter before A. So
That's right. That's absolutely right.
except after C. So
Right. Yeah. You know what, man? It's
All right,
semantics.
yeah,
We're
we're just a bunch of kids at this point. So whatever. So
That's right. That's right.
all right. Just a couple more questions, then we could jump into some extra fun ones here. But I don't know if I actually did bring this up one, but if I did, sorry. But what challenges do you feel like you've been facing these days, being a musician and also really an owner and doing this whole business deal and everything?
Well, so here's the thing. The challenges, I mentioned early on that when I moved to North Carolina, I was homeless without a job. And dude, I worked my fucking ass off for everything. I never have caught a break. I mean, every door I have kicked open, they've slammed it shut, and I had to break in through a window, and when I was racing, I always felt like, I mean, if I had 1/10 of the budget that my competitors had, then dude, I would have felt like I was on top of the world. And so everything that I have ever done has been from facing adversity. So ultimately, when you look at NASCAR drivers, you go, all right, there's a bunch of rich kids racing on daddy's money. And I'm like, so I'll get some shit talkers. And I'm like, listen, I'm not that guy. Like I'm the guy who fought and scraped and begged and hustled just to get any opportunity. And that's ultimately my adversity was I've always been afraid to be a failure, and so I've just been a dream chaser.
I guess, did you kind of hit a little bit of rock bottom in the early, I guess maybe those early years there? Did it almost feel like you were kind of in that hopeless situation, or do you have the right people kind of helping you out?
No, dude. Like part of my parlay out of racing and into music was hitting rock bottom. Because I mentioned before that if you had 1 million, you needed 1.2. If you had 2 million, you needed 2.2. So you're always behind. There was never a comfortable feeling. And it was the fake it till you make it. So the public looked at it and went, "Oh man, he must be doing good. He's got TV, he's got radio, he's got racing." And the whole time, I'm so over leveraged just trying to get the break. And so my parlay into music was stepping away from racing because, dude, I was just burnt out. And I literally locked the door on my shop and jumped in a van and went on tour with my band. And I was like, dude, if I don't stop and get some enjoyment out of life, then I can't keep the dream became the nightmare, because it was just so hard to keep up, And so yeah, I tell everybody that I've never been lucky. I've never caught a lucky break. Every door I've kicked in, and even to this day, it's like, like I was sitting talking to my daughter, and I'm like, man, one lucky break would be good, but that's not. I have to rely on hard work and absolute fucking hustle.
Amen to that. And here he is today on a podcast with some guy in Pennsylvania. So there we go.
Hey man,
So,
you know what? It's I'm just a regular dude. I feel honored to be on your podcast, man. I mean, it's like I'm just a regular dude who took a swing, and I found a little bit of success here and there. Not Jeff Gordon's success and not Metallica's success, but I've sat at a table with Jeff Gordon. I've sat at a table with Metallica. So it's like, I'm faking it and getting through the doors. So must be doing something right.
I guess so, especially when you get budgets like those guys, for instance, there too. So
yeah,
all right, that's all cool. But
yeah,
much love and respect to you.
Dude. Yeah, dude, that's why I say, like some people, their cards are dealt, and they're supposed to be Metallica. They're supposed to be Jeff Gordon. They're supposed to be Dale Earnhardt. I'm a regular ass dude. I was an auto mechanic who was like, fuck it, hold my beer. I'm going to take a swing. That's it. That's my story.
He's brought it up from earlier. So there we go. So it's all good. So, all right. And actually, the last question here kind of delves into AI and social media. So, what do you make of both of them? Do you think double-edged sword, or do you think it could get a little dangerous depending on how they're used?
Yeah, man. AI is like chocolate cake. A slice is nice, but if you eat the whole cake, man, you're going to be sick. And I do think AI is definitely going to be out of control if it's not already. People are writing music through AI. People, and that's like, I think Randy Travis did some AI stuff. He had to because he can't hardly speak anymore. If he may not be able to speak at all, so they used AI to help produce some stuff to keep his vision alive. But for people like me, I can never use it because writing music, like I don't give a fuck if anybody likes my music. I write it for me, and it's my therapy. And if you like it, dude, I'm thrilled if you like it. And if you don't, then me writing music is way cheaper than paying for therapy. So yeah, I think AI is ultimately um, too too dangerous and is going to hurt most creative industries. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, I can understand it too. Actually, believe it or not, there was a guy I interviewed the other night. He does use AI for like a separate project. He actually is a legit band, but then he has like an AI project he does on his own. He just maybe throws a little guitar and vocals every now and again. So actually, his is a little bit more the comedic side of things there too. So you can at least forgive it for being funny, that sort of stuff. So
Look, I'm like this. It's AI is not for me, but it's um, to each their own. I applaud, no different than social media. All these young kids making $1 million on social media. It's not for me, but dude, I am just blown away with the opportunities. So I'm not a hater. And look, if you're doing good on social media or doing something with AI and it's working for you, by all means. But we just got to be real about it. If I sit down and I tell you, I explain a song to you, and I go, hey, this is the origins. This is how I was feeling. There's heart and soul in that. If you plug in some to AI and you go, hey, I'm sad today, write me a song. Um, it's soulless. It may still be good, but it doesn't have the soul um, like classically written. And I don't mean classical music. I just mean pen to paper or traditionally written music. It seems to be a dying art.
yeah, we gotta keep that dream alive. Or sometimes I will actually type lyrics into like the little notepad you have like on the phone or iPad. So
Yep.
then it's easy to do when you go like into the vocal booth, for instance, because I do my own little music projects, which are pretty much
Hmm.
a studio at this point. And I put my phone right there, so it just helps me out with knowing where I'm at in terms of lyric wise, since some of our songs tend to go over 5 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I mean, it is a tool, and you know, however other people use it. Again, I'm not a hater. I'm not gonna, it's not me talking shit. It's just a different use of a talent or a tool. And for me, because like I said, writing music is therapeutic for me. That I need to do it that way to keep the squirrels in my brain from going wild.
Squirrels to the brain. Actually, I like that one. That's a good one too. So, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah, man.
But I'd say keep the AI away from the nukes. We're just going to say that way military. Don't give it that sort of thing.
Right.
That'll do.
Yeah.
All right.
Listen, um, we've seen the movie The Terminator, and that is robots taking over, AI taking over. That did not fare very well. So yeah, keep it away from the nukes.
It's almost like this movie has aged poorly, that whole deal. So,
Yeah, absolutely,
James
absolutely.
Cameron was a prophet in this case. So,
It's
so
seeming that way for sure.
that's for sure. All right. But tread carefully, good soldier. So, all right. Do you have some time to do some fun questions real quick? Not sure if you kind of running low on the battery juice.
Listen, man, battery juice is low. I'll keep talking till the phone dies.
All right. So I guess we'll jump into some extra fun ones here. So let's start with the first one. Which one would you consider has been your favorite food?
Pussy. Yeah, you're gonna have to edit that one out, aren't you?
No, we'll keep it going. We got adult content there too, but
No, listen, man. Like all joking aside, my vocal ability it comes from eating loads and loads of pussy.
I mean, we're gonna say like Pulp Fiction. In this case, be like, gonna stick your tongue in the holiest of holies right there. So I mean,
All right. All joking aside, that was actually from a movie called Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg, and I have been dying, dude. I don't know how you came up with that question, but that is, dude. I've been dying to lead into a question like that to make that answer. So if you got to cut that out for your podcast, I understand. But if you can clip that and send it to me, that would be so epic.
oh, that's going as a short. I guarantee you that. All right. But I will admit it has been unexpected because everyone here jumps into Italian, Mexican, or sushi. Believe it or not, sushi is a common one these days.
Yeah, I like sushi.
You're a sushi
No,
guy.
but like I like sushi, but my go-to is a fillet, a medium rare fillet. I will crawl to the ends of the earth for a good fillet. And that is I will smack my own mama for a good fillet. That's my go-to.
In which case, don't get it between this guy and a fillet steak. He will kill you.
That's
So,
right. That's
all
right.
right. But both great choices nonetheless there too. So all right.
Yes.
I mean, trust me, I had listened to a guy say how he described a drink as giving a pine tree a blowjob. So what do you think of that?
Right. Yeah, I'm not into look, here's the thing, man. Like I don't dine on dick. That's however whoever's into that, I like steak and the other meat. So but teach their own. Look, we all are allowed to eat whatever tickles our fancy.
All right, fair enough. All right. So the next one right here. What would you say is your favorite alcoholic drink? And then what's your favorite non-alcoholic drink?
Okay, so most people don't know this, but I rarely drink. And that is as I've gotten older, it's just I just don't have time. No, I mean, there's desire. I want to go have some drinks, but if my go-to drink, Jesus, it could be anything from a Merlot wine. Even though that movie where the guy says, "I'm not drinking the fucking Merlot," hurt the Merlot business. I really like a good Merlot. But if I'm out and just going to grab a quick drink, a Jack and Coke, I'll do a Mountain Dew and Jack. Or Jack and Mountain Dew, I guess that's the order it goes. And look, I was just turned on to something. I was on an airplane. I looked over, and this dude, he had a little sugar in his tank, and I overheard him order a Jack and Cranberry, and I was like, man, you know what? That I'm gonna have to try that. So I ordered a Jack and Cranberry. Me and my girlfriend did, and then, dude, it was so good. I was like, this is alcoholic. It's got a splash of foo-foo, but it's a good blend. So, but I'm pretty easy to get along with. I'll drink whatever is available at the time. But like I said, I don't. I'm actually not really a drinker.
I'm the same way. Though I will occasionally get to apple ciders, mainly Angry Orchards, and then the occasional Long Island. So
Yeah. You know what? I've never been a big Long Island guy. But it's I find that the older I get, those blended drinks, man, they just hurt. And I don't have very good throttle control. So if it's too foo-foo, then man, I can go from sober to full retard in like no time flat. And you know, you're never supposed to go full retard, and I just don't have throttle control.
yeah, can't really go that far. And hey, we got the mascot on.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yep, first time too, but I left the door open. Probably the best idea. So, all right.
Listen,
Shout out to our mascot, the voodoo dog.
I'm not very politically correct. Anybody that knows me, look, I'm a nice person, but man, I like I like entertaining for sure.
That's for sure. I guess speaking of which, do you have a favorite movie and TV show?
Yeah, so I do. Well, it's multiple movies, but ultimately, if I have to say, my all-time favorite movie is probably Beverly Hills Cop. Um, and I've got a special place in my heart for the John Wick movies, and I'll tell you this, and it's not just because of the time that I've spent with Keanu. Before my dad passed away, he and I sat down and we watched, a couple of John Wick movies together, and it's such a great core memory for me that man, I those movies have just changed my world, because that was, I didn't always get along with my dad, and so that was something that we could sit down and watch and have a good time. So yeah, the Beverly Hills Cop is my number one, and my sentimental favorite is the John Wick movies. TV show, man, I got to think about that. It's hard to beat Dukes of Hazzard. I mean, jumping the '69 Charger over Boss Hogg and Roscoe P. Coltrane, can't beat it, can you?
No, and the traditional yeehaw. That's what deal would even slide across the old Dixie right there too. So
That's right. That's right.
all right, that's all great choices. And for the
Yeah.
last of the fun ones, who you been listening to a good bit in terms of music, whether it's indie or what we consider mainstream?
Man, this may be a whole new interview, because my music selection goes everywhere from Dog Star to Chris Stapleton. I'm a huge Chris Cornell fan. So anything that dude is like, it's like beautiful music. It's like birds chirping in my ears. It sounds so beautiful to me. I like stuff like Billy Ocean and Elvis Presley, Rascal Flatts to Travis Tritt. I mean, it's like, dude, my musical taste is, it's like a fat kid at a buffet, man. Um, you know, I like listening to a lot of my clients, because my favorite musician is the guy who's sending me money to get a bus, and so that works for me.
I guess so. So I guess we could list Jesse as number one fan at this point. So
You know what? I'm have grown to really like. So I'm not a huge '80s, that era. That wasn't my like. That's not my go-to. But the more of that era client that I get, including Jesse stuff, Jackal, it's like, dude, it is it is life altering, because it was just a different time, a different style, and dude, I mean, once you build some rapport with some of these people, then it's like, it changes the way you think about their music. Um, I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with the great legend Yngwie Malmsteen, and dude, like, phenomenal. I can listen to some of his stuff, and dude, I could tell you story after story about that guy too. But it's like, you watch him play, and it's like, so effortlessly. And then I pick up a guitar, and it's like, dude, I feel like a dork, because, this guy's forgotten more than I'll ever know.
that's a hell of a great choice right there too, especially Evie Malmsteen there too. I guess with the
Yeah,
amount of
man.
project he's been involved in too, yeah, including his own little solo project too. So
Yeah, man. He's a great performer, great artist. I like the stuff. What makes me a huge fan of his is the symphony stuff that he's done. He's a neoclassical metal guitarist who is like a god, but so versatile. From super '80s Marshall Wall of amps rock star to writing these symphonies that are just absolutely epic. So he's a unicorn of a different style, so yeah, I'm thankful for that. And I got to point out guys like, one of the tours we have coming up with a great band, Powerman 5000, new metal rock stars, which that band's been one of my clients and friends for years and years and years. So every time I do a little interview, I like to give a little shout out to some of those clients that are just hardcore lovers of music.
That's for sure there too. Though I think the problem with Power Band 5000 is on the radio, they've always done When Worlds Collide. That seems to be the only song they'll give them credit for. You really don't know. I really don't know, like, really a whole lot of their other set lists or other songs they were kind of known for.
Yeah, I mean, When Worlds Collide obviously is the one that everybody knows to, the radio hit, the draw. Naturally, his resume of songs is impressive, but it's no different than you get some of these bands that you hear one song and that hooks you, and it takes going and seeing them or really looking into them to discover that hey, man, this artist is man, not just a good dude, but you could tell loves what he does.
That's for sure. And I was going to say, it comes from the heart. That's what I was trying to symbolize right there too. So,
yeah, man, I got nothing but love for good people, and that band, Spider, to the lead guy, is when you talk about a good human being, that's what I love is this business. Every entertainment business is so full of shitheads that will stab you in the back, and you get a guy like in a band like Powerman 5000, dude. I would be even if their music sucked, I would be a huge fan because they're absolutely fucking awesome human beings, and their music doesn't suck.
So double whammy in that case. So
Double whammy, absolutely.
Okay. All right. God bless those guys there too. And good luck. I guess whenever that tour is there too. So
yeah, man.
Right. So Chris, we're down to one more question in my podcast. Hopefully we have enough battery life. But just real quick, would you like to ask me a question real quick?
Okay, yeah. So your background, your love. Give me. There's not just one question because I like knowing somebody. So your upbringing, what got you into music, and what is your if you're sitting in the electric chair, and they say, hey, you get one meal and one song. What are you going to?
All right. So in terms of the upbringing, I mean, it was a standard middle class family. I mean, parents were always great. They did help me with the music. They pushed me more towards the strings. I was never really good doing brass, so I never really liked doing trumpet or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So I got to cello, and they supported me for those 10 years that I was able to do it. My dad tried to teach me a little bit of bass, but I never really got fully committed into it. I did like a couple of bass covers, that sort of stuff. Music wise, it had always actually been there, to be honest. It was more so my dad than my mom was. Because I think my mom's was always stuck in the 50s with Elvis and those sorts of guys.
Yeah.
And my dad, he liked classic rock. He was a 60s, 70s guy with some exceptions in the 80s, like Motley Crue and Metallica.
Yeah, yeah.
So I say my metal was always technically there. So I kind of blame my dad for
right
thing because of Metallica. And actually, I think it was Nowhere Bore's. I think when we heard like the opening solo, that whole first minute of that song right there too was like, holy shit, this guy can fucking play. So
right. So is that your song? You're going into the electric chair. They're about to flip the switch, and they're like, "Hey, dude, one song. What do you want?"
Well, for the meal, I would say a full rack of ribs. I like it nice and meaty there too, with a good side of fries. So that'll be the meal. And you know what? It's either that or Answer the Sky. So I think if I had to flip a coin, it'll be between those two. And whichever one lands on, I'll take it.
Yeah. Dude, great choices. I mean, it's like little ribs, fries, good music, and then flip the switch and fry me. Yeah, that's not a bad deal.
I mean, hey, it's like I'm going to die at this point. Actually, you know what? Actually, to make it even funnier, let's do "Ride the Lightning" with Metallica. So it kind of fits in with that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, man. You know what? So I had the opportunity to go down to Rockville a couple years ago with my daughter, and which my daughter is my partner in business, and we got to see Skinner together. We got to see Metallica, and again, I mean, dude, my reason for living is and it's like when you're a kid, you put stuff on the refrigerator for your parents to see. Well, everything that I do is to impress my daughter and keep her thinking that I'm cool. So, it's I just feel blessed in life. So whenever it's time to flip the switch and ride the lightning and eat my rack of ribs to the old tour bus in the sky, dude, I haven't been cheated at all.
I would say now you're just copying me. That whole deal. So,
Well,
so
I'm assuming that it's going to be side by side electric chairs, and it's one switch, two chairs, and it's. I mean, surely they're not going to make ribs and a fillet. So I'll take some of your dream.
all right, I'll be nice and share it with you. Be
Yeah,
like, we're right off in a charity of fire or something like that there too. If we want to be a little bit more dramatic afterwards.
right, absolutely. Yeah, I'm down
All
with
right.
that.
All right. Did you have anything else before we jump into the last question?
No, man, I'm thrilled, man. I just want to tell you that I'm very thankful for you having me on your show, and hopefully there's a round two in the future.
At some point, we'll see how it goes. Maybe at some point, see if we can bring on some of the band members here too. So,
Absolutely, man.
all right. But here's how the last question goes.
Yeah.
So, given the amount of negativity you've been seeing in the world these days, probably through the news lens, if we wanted to call it that, these days, I feel like people need some sort of hope. So, what would be your message of hope for musicians and ordinary people out there so they can move forward with their lives?
So my message of hope is, pretty simple. First and foremost, I'd say get off of social media because it's all fake. It's all doom and gloom and headlines. And you know, um, hope is not a plan. So enjoy life. The plan has to be go out there and hustle. And hope and faith is good, but it's not. That is not how you succeed and become happy, And so we all, no matter what, the perspective is everything. So, when people look at me, for instance, they go, "Oh, race car driver, musician. Oh, that guy has nothing but cool stuff." And the reality is, we all get sad. We all hit rock bottom. We all have our own story of survival, and it all starts with getting off of social media and putting the left foot in front of the right foot and chasing something to make yourself happy, because eventually all this on earth goes away, man.
That's for sure. And spoke like a true prodigy. So, all right. So, Chris, we have reached the end of my podcast right here. We talked a little over an hour and 30 some minutes, but I guess before we close out, do you want to give any shout outs to anybody?
Yeah, dude, I got to give a shout out to my daughter, Hannah Lafferty, my partner in business, and my life's motivation, and she's my retirement plan. I'm trying to get her to uh, take over the business so I can just be a full-time, lazy, traveling musician. So yeah, I got to give a shout out to my kid.
Actually, I thought it was going to be like, oh, it was like thinking Game of Thrones, be like, the hand works, the king shits, or something like that.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
I don't know, but whatever. So, but we'll also give a shout out to bandmates and I guess everyone who has also supported you over the years here too. You gotta be fair to that. So
yeah. Overall, the list is too long, and ultimately, I can categorize the list of people who have influenced me, people who have stood beside me, from bandmates to racers to just people in life. And look, it's not the idea of just pointing out famous people or stuff to get likes or clicks. The reality is this: my world revolves around my family, and ultimately, nothing else in the grand scheme of things matters. I love all my friends. I love the people that I do business with. I love the people that I have. Whether it's the barista at Starbucks every morning, but ultimately, I could give thanks and give shots out all day and all night. And we just don't have time for that.
The day, or we should say the night, he's young and full of drinks and that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
All right. All right. And just real quick, what social media and streaming platforms are you on so people can check you out and interact?
So social media, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Begrudgingly, I so hate social media, but also understand it is a way of life. I think we have some music on Spotify and YouTube, but I'm going to be honest with you. We're about to release a bunch of stuff under the Chris Lafferty music brand, and so if people want to learn a little bit about my other racing history, they can go to laffertymotorsports.net and see a little bit of the history. And then anybody, man, find me on social media, send a message, ask a question, and it's one of those things that I'm an open book.
And also, just to kind of also answer a question how I found out about you. Thank God for Google, because I was actually looking to figure out people, maybe like people who are athletes, if they did like music outside like their profession, whether it was like baseball, football, in this case, NASCAR too. So thank God for Google. So
absolutely. Yeah. Google saves my butt, because that's how I learn all my information is I Google it.
You and me both. All right. But we have to close out like this. So everyone, I guess today was the legendary Chris Lafferty, former NASCAR driver, but he's part of the band. Chris Lafferty Music used to be 89 Reasons, so don't get the two confused. So Chris Lafferty Music band. So make sure you go check that out on all streaming platforms and check them out on the socials and everything here too. Also, I did mention about some of the websites in the last little bit right here too. So go up there and check out his little biography. And if you also want to interact, this guy's an open book, as he says. So Chris, God bless you, mate. Stay safe, because it is one pretty fucked up world out there. And good luck with your show with Jackal. And I guess any other shows you have. I know you mentioned Power Man 5000, so good luck with those guys as well. Rock on. And lastly, for the little kid in you, strike a pose. Stay tuned, y'all.
Thanks, Brian. Great talking to you, buddy.